What's up, guys? This is Daniel from the Arms Family Homestead. Hey, this video was recorded live because I just don't have time to come back and edit and all that. I've got to go to work in just a little bit, and I really wanted to get a video out there today about the garden and the sad state of affairs that we're in with the garden right now. So that's what this video is about. If you're later, stick around. You know, it's just because you weren't watching it live. It wasn't anything big announcement or anything like that. Just a live video because I didn't have time to edit. So maybe we'll get a few people coming in here. There's Amy Fuel with the Fuel Homestead. Fuel. And Candy, hello. So, as I said, this video is basically just going to be a live video because I didn't have time to edit. And kind of wanted to talk about the sad state of affairs in my garden right now because it's pathetic. So, and it really didn't have anything to do with going on vacation. After we got back from vacation, everything was still in really good shape. Hey, like my door. Never got around to hanging it. I thought it would be cool to have that old door there as the door of my garden. Actually, my brother Gary drug it up here, and I thought, man, that'd be perfect. So, the deer are just killing me. If you guys watched my channel last year, if you watched any of my gardening videos last year, you know how it went. The deer, it seemed like I fought the deer last year every single day. And so many of my subscribers threw out so many different options on what to do to fight the deer and how to beat them and how to get ahead of them and tips and tricks. And I've had several people doing that this year already. And here's the thing. I live in the woods. Bam. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you saw me post a video this morning, just a little clip. And there was a baby fawn laying about right there, right outside my garden. And they just, I don't know. I went about 4 years with the only thing around protecting my garden was a 3-wire hot wire, and it worked great. I never had deer problems at all. 2 years ago, we had some severe flooding and we weren't here a lot. We had to kind of abandon ship because the creek on our driveway was flooded for about 2 months. So without us being home, the deer got comfortable coming into the garden, which, no big deal. I thought, well, the next year, I thought, well, now that we're going to be home every day, we won't have a problem. Wrong. Fought the deer as hard as I could last year. It was a losing battle. So this year, it's hard to see in the videos, but you can see all my T-posts. I bought the deer fencing online, well, I found it online, ordered it through a local dealer. Bought all these 10-foot T-posts. Look, no fence. It's down here. The stuff is here. Ooh, there's a hot wire there too. But the deer just jump right through it. They just knock it down completely. So I knew it was a long shot, but you know, I discussed it with my brother Gary, who uses about half of my garden. Most of this on this side is his. I said, hey, I don't know if we can keep the deer out. We'll try this deer netting, see if it works. I thought maybe if we could just get them trying to jump over it, and yeah, I know they can clear a 7-foot fence, but I just thought maybe being an enclosed space, they wouldn't want to come inside this fenced-in area. Well, I was wrong. Basically, every night since we've been back from vacation, which was, let's see, almost a week now, pretty much every night they knock the fence down. And this stuff is just so light duty. And I knew, when I got it in, I knew it probably wasn't going to be the best, but I thought it might deter them from wanting to jump into an enclosed space. Well, I'll show you just how strong this stuff is. I don't know if you can see it on video, but there's a hole right here. I'm standing next to the fence. There's my hot wire. The deer just run and jump and go completely through it. So I'm probably just going to have to completely abandon a lot of this traditional garden out here, or my raised beds, my raised rows are. It's just not working. I'll show you what, let me show you some of these tomato plants real quick. You can see how every tip of every plant gets nibbled off. And this is what we fought last year, and they just keep them just wore down almost to the ground, and every time they try to bloom, the deer eat those. And there's my 2 rows of green beans that I just showed you guys a couple days ago. From a distance they look okay, but when you come in close, I don't know if it'll zoom there. you can see all the tops are nibbled off. So let me switch you guys back. I'm just not going to do this again. Carolyn says, have you tried Tabasco sauce on your plants to get rid of deer? Okay, so last year I mixed up every concoction that I could come up with, from hot peppers and all different kinds of things that everybody suggested. Just doesn't work. It didn't work at all. I think my deer thought I was putting ketchup on their food or something, because they just loved it. It didn't slow them down a bit. So here's the thing. I grow a garden because it's fun. I love to garden. I love to have a garden. I love to grow food. I love to sell my vegetables. I love to give away my vegetables. Whatever the case. You know, we can a lot of stuff in the past. We didn't get to last year. But last year was such a struggle. And I said, I do this because it's fun, it's relaxing, and it's a hobby. I don't do it solely to provide food for my family. Now, that's a benefit, that's a perk. But if I'm spending all this money and all this time, I mean, I spend hours and hours and hours in the garden, and if I don't get any kind of return on my investment, I'm not doing it. And as much as I love to garden, I do live in the woods. And everyone says, well, you just need to shoot the nuisance deer. Well, that's just not an option, because guess what? Look behind me. It's all timber, okay? Ed Kirkpatrick says a high fence is the answer. I completely agree. And that's really the only option. So in the future, if I plan on trying to grow a garden out here, my only option is going to be an 8 or 9 foot tall, solid high fence, just like, you know, a regular fence, not this plastic mesh that doesn't work. So I'm probably going to have to abandon most of this out here. Southern Yankee says a garden guardian dog. Well, I've got, right now, there is a Great Pyrenees laying on the porch. There's Bella the lab, and then there's Bear at the barn. And I know you won't believe this, but yesterday, I should have got it on video. I was just kind of amazed watching. The little deer walked up through the yard, and Bear was laying right there with the whole herd of goats. The deer walked right through the goats with Bear barking. He's just laying on the ground barking at the deer. And, well, the deer walked right past him. So, I don't know. And they only come in here at night. There's never a deer in here during the daytime. It just happens at night. So, oh well. Now, I'm not real happy, and it's not great, but I'm not going to spend all of my time this spring and summer out here trying to grow a garden when every night the deer just take more of it. So, yeah, I really haven't done a whole lot of work trying to control the grass since we got back from vacation, so don't make fun of me, because my garden never looked like this. But all of Houston's watermelons over here, they haven't touched those yet, but I know they will. I'm thinking, I've got a couple ideas. I want to try to salvage some outside garden. So we have done a lot of work in here. Things are looking a lot better in there, and that's going to be my focus probably for the rest of the summer and fall. And that's probably just going to be my focus mainly in general. And I'll tell you what we've done in there. But I also have this little stretch that I don't have anything planted in right here. That's from the side of my high tunnel to that fence is only about 10 feet. Now, what I'm thinking is I can probably fence off, come off the side of my high tunnel, come out 10 feet down, and have a small garden there, and do the same thing on the other side of the high tunnel. So that would give me 48 feet by 10 feet on this side, and probably the same thing over there. And I can feasibly fence that off a lot better than fencing off 140 feet by 60 feet rectangle. The high fence idea is expensive, and I'm not going to do that right now. But I can still garden in a small space and probably keep the deer out of that. So earlier today, I had basically just made the decision. Wheat Tree says, have you considered using fishing line? I did that last year. I'm telling you, I tried everything last year. Had my 3-wire hot wire and put about 3 or 4 rows of fishing line above it, because everybody said if the deer jumps into it, they'll get tangled up and won't come back. Well, no bones there. They just went through it, went over it, around it, knocked it down, everything. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I'd pretty much decided, made up my mind I was going to abandon ship on a lot of this stuff out here, because you're fighting a losing battle. With as many deer as I have, I'm not going to do what I did last summer again. So Gary, my brother, came out today, and this is all his side of the garden. And I said, hey, we're fighting a losing battle. You know, your tomatoes are getting about 4 inches shorter every night, because they were halfway up those T-posts when I got back from vacation. So I said, listen, why don't we start digging as much up as we can, salvage as many of these tomatoes and peppers and stuff that's out here, and move inside. Because while I've had a lot of problems, I had a ton of problems in my greenhouse earlier this spring. Everything in here now is doing really good. See, it's growing a lot better. And I'll show you guys. So we came out here this morning and dug up probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a dozen tomato plants, transplanted some in that raised bed there. Dug up about a dozen pepper plants, transplanted them here. We've got cucumbers growing in here, squash, zucchini, onions, you know, all this stuff. Here's the thing with the deer, I have to shut these doors every night until I can figure out a way to keep them from walking through those doors. I never would have dreamed a deer would walk in my greenhouse and eat, but they do. So here's what it is. The back side, I've got some netting put up to where when I raise the back wall, it's not really open, so they can't just walk through back there. So that worked really well last year. Kept the deer out from walking in back there. But I think I'm just going to put all my focus into this greenhouse, and we can still grow a lot. Now my tomatoes back here that are kind of struggling, we took out ones that weren't growing very well and planted and transplanted some of the ones from out in the garden. They're not staked up. I need to tie them up, get them tied so they start growing up instead of out. Southern Yankee says, how about a motion sensor hooked up to a radio? It might work, but I think it won't. I don't think it'll work for very long, because I can literally walk out here early in the mornings and talk to the deer, and they'll hop away, but they'll just stand there until I go back in the house, and then they walk right back up in the yard. So we've lived here for so long. These deer are just accustomed to us. They're used to us. They know my scent. I can walk outside with them and not spook them too much. Well, I got interrupted. My wife called my phone. I'm recording on my phone, so I hope it doesn't split this up into 2 videos. If it does, I guess I'll figure that out. So back to what I was saying. Hope she doesn't call back again. Grizz said I'd be eating lots of venison. I know, Grizz, I know you stay on me about this, but there's only so many deer I can shoot. I love the deer hunt, and I love to watch the deer, and I grew up with these animals around, and I enjoy them. I'm not just going to come out here and start shooting them all. So anyway, so last year I started bringing a shotgun outside in the mornings, and when they were around close to the garden, I'd just start blasting over the top of their head about 10 feet. And for a couple days, that really worked. It scared them. And after a while, they just hop off. I mean, they'll just kind of trot off out there into the pasture a little ways and then come right back, because they feel comfortable and safe here. So everything in here is going to be my focus for this summer. I had some struggles, and I don't know what caused everything to die, but there's so many crops in here that are just exploding right now. I mean, look at this potato. I planted a potato in here, just an old potato out of our house that was sprouting, and I brought out here just to plant it a couple weeks ago, about 3 weeks. It was before we went on vacation, and it's exploding. So I don't know what was causing all those problems. I still haven't got my soil test back yet. I don't know what the holdup is there, but clearly the soil's not too bad, because everything's growing now. I mean, it's doing okay. So I don't know. So here we are. I'm not going to quit gardening. I'm just going to probably have to abandon my garden outside the high tunnel, at least for this summer, until I can figure out if I want to take the money and time to build a true high fence around my garden. Because with the size of my garden, a 7 or 8 foot tall high fence, you know, I'm probably going to end up spending a couple $1,000s. What'd you say there? Hang on, let me scroll back up. Yankee said, could you not feed them? We use corn to keep them happy. Yeah. Well, I do. Well, I'm not feeding them right now. I don't feed them in the summertime. I do feed them in the fall and the winter. I feed the deer a lot, and I don't really want to draw more of them right here to the yard right now. So I'm afraid if I start feeding them corn, you know, just outside in my yard, then I'll just bring more here. So I don't know. Chris says, Daniel, I had a chicken wire fence up that kept the deer out of the garden, and I kept the chickens in there during the off season. Well, and that's a good possibility. That is an idea, but I'm probably not going to buy 400 and something feet of chicken wire 7 foot tall right now. That would just be a huge expense. So I don't know. I can buy, let me put it this way, I can buy a lot of vegetables at the farmer's market for, you know, the $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever it's going to take to high fence off my garden. So I'm not going to do that right now. I still have the high tunnel. I think I can keep the deer out of here as long as I shut the doors at night. I would like to figure out a way, maybe a sliding door to put in here, this screen. Southern Yankee says a paintball gun. Well, that works when you see them. They're just usually out here at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So Wheat Tree says yes, but they ain't your veggies. I know, but I still have this. Guys, I'm not gonna quit gardening. I've still got, I mean, this greenhouse is 48, let's see, it's I'm sorry, 24 by 48 long, plus that end wall gives me another 12, almost 12 feet down there. So I can grow a lot of stuff in here. I've still got the greenhouse. I'm not quitting gardening, I promise. Chris says you can buy 100-foot rolls of deer netting for about 30 bucks a roll. Well, Grizz, that's what I have right here. Hang on, let me get back out here. I put up this deer netting fence. See, it's 7 foot tall, 100-foot roll. But like I said a while ago, they just knock a hole right through it. They jump right through it. When they try to jump over it, it's not a fence. It's more of a bird netting. The box, when it came in, said deer netting, but no, it's not. So let me scroll up, catch a comment here. Bradley says, how about a donkey? I can't with a donkey because I don't have a way to, it's not fenced off all the way around the garden, so that's not gonna work. Deer just come through the yard. Amy Fuels says, you see if Perimeter One do a barter fence for you. They do livestock fencing electric. I'll send you the email. They love doing barter with YouTubers and blogs. Well, I'll try anything, but I've got electric fence. I've had electric fence for several years around my garden. Last year I did what they call the gap fence, where you put like 3 wires and then you go out 3 feet and put another 2-wire fence. Gives a space in between the 2 fences, and they say the deer won't jump across it. Didn't slow my deer down. Yankee says the deer eat with my donkeys. Yeah. Anna, wear your cop romper outfit in the garden. They'll scare them off. You know what, Anna? I may not let the kids come to your house tonight if you want me. If you're gonna be like that. I'm not wearing no romper out here in the garden. I mean, come on. I'm not wearing a romper. Anna is a local person. Anna lives in the same town I do. Her daughter just graduated. Our kids think Anna's pretty much their grandma now. She's kind of adopted them because I don't have parents anymore. Both of my parents passed away, so Anna's kind of taking over and trying to be their grandma for me, I guess. But that's okay because she likes to buy them stuff and they love her for it, so oh well. Alright, back to what I was saying. I don't remember where I was at. Tried 2 fences and didn't work here either yet. The 2 fence deal didn't work out at all. Grizz says, Daniel, what about running a 2 foot wide roll of chicken wire up about 3 feet with the netting and electrify it? Well, I don't know. Grizz, there's probably 100 different things we could try. Quite honestly, this is way more garden than I need. It's as big as it is because for 3 or 4 years I was selling vegetables and I liked everything spaced out so I could get in here and work. I don't need this big of a garden anymore, so I kind of like the idea of revamping, condensing down, doing, you know, maybe 10 feet like I said on either side of the greenhouse out here, plus the greenhouse will still be way more vegetables than my family can eat. And I'll probably kind of change it up, do a little better job of not just leaving the soil bare. I've got 3 old bales of hay. I could come out here and lay those down that are probably 4 or 5 years old. Do a little better job of mulching everything. Grow more in a smaller space. Okay. Yankee Force says, Daniel, your videos rock, brother. The last 3 weeks have been a help. Been so nice to see your videos and crack up at the same time. Well, thanks, Yankee. I appreciate that. I don't know. I have a good time with it. I'm not going to stress out about the deer situation. I did last year. I fought them forever. This year, I think I'd rather just go fishing. I can take my time, spend my time out here in the garden. Like I said, it's stress reliever for me. The food's a bonus. I love it. I enjoy it, but I'm not going to stress out about it. So, Wheat Tree says, Daniel, you feed the masses with what you grow. Well, I'll tell you what, in years past, now, you guys didn't get to see it last year, but the years before, I mean, just hundreds. I mean, I used to sell hundreds of pounds and give away hundreds of pounds of squash and cucumbers and all that stuff. And I enjoyed it, but the deer aren't going to allow for it, so I'm not going to stress out about it. Bradley Wood says, can you create a sacrificial small garden with feed corn? No, because my goats would eat it all. It'd get about that tall and the goats would wipe it out. They'd be more interested in that than your garden. It's possible, but I just don't think it would be sustainable, because as much as there is to eat around here, I mean, you think about it. I'm down in the woods in the middle of 100, well, there's my door, ugly door. I'm in the middle of 100 acres out here, plus around me is all farmland and timber and creek bottom, and there's food everywhere for the deer this time of year. But they like what's going on in here, so if I plant anything else out there, I think they're still gonna like my green beans. So, let's see. What's up, Dutch? Good to see you, man. Thought you were supposed to be working. What is today? Yeah, you should be at work. Better get back to work, boy. Yankee Force says, amen, let's go fishing. I'm telling you what, I'm into fishing. I love fishing, and gardening's a stress reliever, so if it's causing stress, it ain't doing its job, so I'm gonna go find something else to do. All right, Pat Chapman says, oops, beard is gone, liked it. Your out gardens are great, but a lot of work and rather be fishing too. Yeah, I had to go back to work. I can only grow a beard when I'm on vacation. So, I'm not on vacation anymore. I go back to work. Can't grow a beard. I wish, though. I really like it. I like the beard. But look at that short hair. Freaking law enforcement haircut. I look just like a cop, don't I? Wheat Tree says, as a local to you, I've heard of your generosity. Who'd you hear my generosity from there, Wheat Tree? If you mind telling me. Living Like Claire says, hola peeps, what's up, Claire? 410, son. Well, what's today? Oh, today's Friday, isn't it? My bad, Dutch. I thought today was Thursday. Telling you what, with my schedule, I never know what day it is. I'm always off on my days, so sorry, sorry, Dutch. Bradley says, thanks for telling about your equip grant. I'll be installing 2,173 feet Gothic high tunnel. Bradley, that is awesome. That's why, man, there's so many programs like that out there that people don't know about. And I put it off for 2 or 3 years. Everybody kept saying, you need to apply for the grant. You need to apply for the grant. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I did, and bam, got a greenhouse. They didn't pay for all of it. It was a cost share thing, but hey, I love it. It's so much fun. I can grow so much in there when it works. I'm still learning. But hey, Bradley, I'm super excited for you, man. I can't wait to see it. I hope you send us some pictures, maybe make some videos of the process. Try to keep everybody else informed on what's going on, because so many people don't know about those programs. Bradley says the state's giving me $9,900 because I'm just starting out. That's awesome. That's really cool. Grizz says Houston needs to give Jay Null fishing lessons. Man, that boy loves fishing. And he loves the garden too. He loves his watermelon, and he loves his fishing and all that stuff. But out of the 3 kids I've got, he's really the only one that's interested in gardening. Emily's still young enough. She still wants to go fishing with me all the time. Weston's 15. He's too cool. He's got better things to do. But Houston and Emily love fishing, and we're right next to the lake. We got a boat. I've still got a boat. So we're probably going to do some fishing this summer. Spend a little less time in the garden. Bradley says the Amish guy down the road gave me the name of the company in PA, which should cost about $7,800. I'll use some of the surplus to dig a 500-foot water pipe. Well, that's really cool. I don't know how that would work. For me, it wasn't like they were going to give me a certain amount and then anything over that I got to keep. They were only going to pay so much per square foot, and it wasn't going to work. They weren't basically going to cut me a check for any extra. So if they will do that for you, if you got that approved, that is awesome. Wheat Tree says Houston didn't fall far from the apple tree. No, I mean, he's growing up in the woods. We have a creek right there. We got the pond. Of course he's going to love to fish until he turns 14 or 15 and he finds better things to do. But I'm going to take advantage of it while he's young. Yankee 4 says, do you have some why moving in the air? I'm confused. What do you mean there, Yankee 4? Do you have some why of moving the air? Some way of moving the air? Are you talking about like getting the heat out of my high tunnel? I don't. If that's what you're talking about, fans and things, I don't. My door here, an 8-foot opening here at the front, and I've got my ridge vent in here. I don't know if you've seen the videos on that. Hey Dutch, $2, thanks man, I appreciate that. Super chat, thanks Dutch. Go check out Dutch. Hey, give me $2, I'll give you a shout out, Dutch. Go check out Keeping It Dutch. He's a good buddy of mine. We've been friends on YouTube a long time. Got to meet in person a few weeks ago. Really cool guy. So back to what I was saying. Ridge vent, I can close this up when the weather's cold or when it rains. This lets out a lot of the heat, and my back wall back there will raise all the way up flat, so I can get most of the heat out. It doesn't have roll-up sidewalls because of that vent, but I can pull them up a couple feet in between there. So I don't have a fan. I guess I probably could eventually put one up here above the door to help get some heat out, but that's down the road. Before I get to that point, I would like to do some irrigation. I want to pump water out of the creek is what I want to do to water my greenhouse. Let me catch up on the comments. Grizz says, I love fishing as long as the fish don't bother me while I'm catching a beer buzz. That's pretty funny. Wheat Tree says an old AC blower works well. Grizz, hey man, thanks, I appreciate it. He said, I see your $2 Dutch and raise you 3. Thanks guys, I appreciate that. I really do. I didn't come on here expecting guys to give me money for that, but I do appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Yankee 4 says, funny, my name is Yankee, but I'm a bit country boy. Been in South Carolina most of my life. Well, we don't hold anything against you calling yourself a Yankee though. Keeping It Dutch says, go buy some more 22 shells for them deer. Yeah, well, I'm just going to let them have what's left, and I'm going to take what's in here. Wheat Tree says, battle of the super chat. Yeah, you know, I was kind of thinking about winding down the video and getting off here pretty quick, but you know what? I think I'll just sit down, put my camera down, try not to shake you guys too much. Level you out. Don't look at my ugly tomatoes. I mean, the poor guys just got transplanted today. They barely have any leaves on them. They're not tied up. Got to get some T-posts and tie them up. But they're kind of ugly right now. They'll make it. I mean, I've never transplanted tomatoes that big. Those things are 2 foot tall, but they were getting destroyed out there in the garden. So here they are in a raised bed. All right. I didn't really intend to make this a long video, but here we are. Yankee says, did you ever get to use your wife's new camera? Well, I have tried a couple times. The thing about that new camera, it's the is it the 7D? Yeah, it's the Canon 7D. I use the old T5i more than I try to use the 7D. She's the photographer. That's her camera. I use it. It's a great camera, but it doesn't have that flip out screen like 5D. So when I'm videoing myself, I can look in the lens. The 5D has a screen that flips out, and I can see myself. So I always know if I'm in frame. The problem with that 7D, if you don't have somebody that can see it, ooh, Dutch. Grizz, I see your $5 and raise you 5 more. 10. Dutch just gave me $10. Man, I'm gonna feel guilty if I don't catch his next live stream now. Woohoo! Alright, so without that flip out screen, it's hard to know what's in frame and what's not. So unless it's something that I can set up ahead of time, and I'm not, because I mean, we're YouTubers, we're always holding that camera and walking around and talking, right? So, you know, I like the 5D because, or the T5i, because it's got that flip out screen. I don't really use her new one much. She uses it for pictures all the time, and she makes good money with it, so I can't complain. So, where are we going to go with this now? Because, you know, guys, Grizz and Dutch are slinging money. I hate to shut them off while they're in a giving mood, you know what I mean? So, any questions? Anybody else got anything? I can't stay on too much longer. It's almost 2 o'clock here, and I have to go to work at 3 o'clock. So, I can't stay on much longer. Got to get cleaned up and get ready for work. But I'm here if you guys have any questions. If I missed a comment, I'm trying to scroll through and check things out. I don't see any questions. Holy cow. Dutch, what are you going to do? You can't let Grizz do that. I mean, Grizz bumped you. He's up to 20 bucks now. Dutch, don't let Grizz, don't let Grizz win like that. I mean, come on, man. Grizz, you know what? I like you, brother. I like you. Even though you might poke fun at me and you give me a hard time, I think you're a good guy no matter what everybody else says about you. I think old Grizz catches a bad rap sometimes. I'll tell you what. Grizz and I may not see eye to eye on things, and he's been open and honest about that, and the guy has left thumbs down on my videos and told me why he did it, and I completely respect that. Grizz may not see eye to eye with all law enforcement, but I feel like part of why I do this channel, part of why I got involved in YouTube was because I want to help paint a better picture for law enforcement, because not everybody is friends with a police officer. Not everybody knows someone personally or has family in law enforcement, and we're not all bad people. We're just normal, everyday guys who go to work and do a job. Now, sure, there are bad apples out there, but we're all not that way. And I'm going to do everything I can to make Grizz like me, whether he really wants to or not. Ain't that right, Grizz? Next move, Dutch. Yeah, Dutch's pockets are probably getting empty by now. Old Grizz is going to win him out. Grizz says, I got a pair of 2s, Dutch. Let's see your hand. Dutch says, I fold. Wheat Tree says, keep talking, Daniel. You might have enough for a good fence. I know, right? I mean, just keep them. Just poking. Just keep poking and going, doo, doo, doo. Come on, Grizz. Come on, Dutch. Let them fight it out, right? Well, Dutch said he folded, so I guess that's probably about as far as we're going to get with that. Guys, I really appreciate it. I didn't come on here asking for money. I promise you that. I mean, that's just blows me away that you guys do that. I do appreciate it.